There's no doubt that Britney Spears has millions of fans around the world, but did you know that among these fans are also big celebrities in their own right? After the world finally heard Britney speak about her conservatorship, it certainly stirred the pot in Hollywood. Now a ton of celebrities are using their platform and influence to shout "Free Britney" from the rooftops. That's why today we're going to be talking about the top 10 celebrities that defended Britney Spears. But first, if you could do us a big favor and tap that like button, we'd really appreciate it. And with that out of the way, let's begin today's top 10. Coming in number 10, Justin Timberlake. After what we heard during Britney's testimony, it was only a matter of time before Justin Timberlake spoke out. If you recall the documentary from the New York Times called Framing Britney Spears, Justin received a ton of backlash for his role in her conservatorship. The pair had dated from 1999 to 2002, and despite what people were saying about him, he publicly threw his support behind Britney. In a series of tweets, he said, "After what we saw today, we should all be supporting Britney at this time, regardless of our past, good and bad, and no matter how long ago it was. What's happening to her is just not right. No woman should ever be restricted from making decisions about her own body," adding, "No one should ever be held against their will or ever have to ask permission to access everything they've worked so hard for. Jess and I send our love and our absolute support to Britney during this time. We hope the courts and her family make this right and let her live however she wants to live." Coming in number 9, Rose McGowan. Rose knows better than most people on this list what it feels like to have your personal decision making taken away from you by a man. The actress was one of the early accusers of disgraced producer Harvey Weinstein. While appearing on Tucker Carlson tonight following Britney's hearing, Rose slammed the media, saying that they were rotten to the core. In defending Britney, she said, "Her father put her under conservatorship at age 25. Many in the media laughed and scorned her when she shaved her head. I lived in Hollywood during that time, and I've made it my life's mission to tell all of you out there what so many of you already know deep down, that fame and Hollywood and the media machine are rotten to the core, and they do hurt and they do damage," adding, "She got to speak for the first time. I believe in her life, honestly and openly, and what has been done to her is horrific. And I know it seems like, why should we care about a rich pop princess, right? But I think it's deeper than that. Oh, it certainly is much deeper than that." Coming in number 8, Jon Bon Jovi. Jon Bon Jovi actually watched the Framing Britney Spears documentary, and while appearing on the SiriusXM radio show called Andy, he offered up an emotional defense for Britney Spears. His take though had nothing to do with the conservatorship, but rather with the public who took advantage and manipulated the downfall of Britney. He is quoted as saying, "I feel terrible for the poor kid. She was a girl, so the public took advantage of that. She was manipulated. And then also when Justin Timberlake breaks up with her, he's getting slaps on the back and she's being chastised. That's heartbreaking stuff. Forget the conservatorship." And he's 100% right about that. Justin was praised for dating her, and she was just kind of shamed for that whole relationship. That constant narrative in the media must have really added to everything else that she was dealing with at that time. Coming in number 7, Kathy Griffin.
That I hope you were gentle with her, because she is, a fragile...
So what's your point?
Nothing. I just wanted to know if you got through to her in a way that her doctors couldn't. Anyway, I digress.
Kathy Griffin is going to have to own up to this Larry King interview that she did at some point. Back in 2016, she actually took shots at Britney's mental state and even tried to get Larry King to jump on the bandwagon of criticizing her, but he refused. After Larry said that he had interviewed Britney a couple times, Kathy actually said, "I used to make fun of Britney Spears. Did you get the pinwheel eyes? You know what I'm talking about. She's not all there." However, when Larry said, "So what's your point?" Kathy had to awkwardly explained that Britney brought her on stage once but didn't know who she was. So clearly she was still a little bit bitter about that, but after Britney exposed what had really been happening with her, suddenly Kathy changed her tone. Then we got a tweet that said, "Wow, love her. 25 minutes and I was hanging on every word. #Free Britney." I'm sure you were. I'm going to bring up celebrities that defended Britney in 2021, but I also don't want you all to forget the celebrities who had no bones about making fun of her while she was in this terrible situation just so that they could get some views. I.e. Kathy Griffin. Coming in number 6, John Mayer. John Mayer is another celebrity that is going to be given a hard time for speaking in defense of Britney Spears. Upon publicly reflecting on how the Framing Britney Spears documentary touched him, Mayer was torched online for his past treatment of women in Hollywood. For starters, let's look at what he said. While appearing on Andy Cohen's SiriusXM show, he said, "I almost cried 5 times during that. I mean, I was on the edge of tears 5 times, because if you understand what this business, industry, lifestyle does to a person, to go through this and come out the other side okay is to have infinite grace for those who struggle with it," adding, "I came out okay. I have a very strong feeling that part of that is because I'm a man, and I have a very strong feeling that a lot of these things that happen to female performers is endemic to being female." Although almost immediately he was attacked for the way that he treated both Jessica Simpson and Taylor Swift. Taylor, who was actually only 19 years old at the time when John started dating her, and he was 32. So I'll let you sit with that. Coming number 5, Kim Kardashian. Considering the fact that Kim K is working on becoming a lawyer, maybe somewhere down the line she will actually be able to offer, I don't know, legal help to Britney Spears. Although for now her platform as a major celebrity is certainly going to help reach new people who haven't really heard about the full extent of what's going on with Britney Spears. After watching the Framing Britney Spears documentary, Kim Kardashian spoke out defending Britney and said, "The way the media played a big role in her life the way it did can be very traumatizing, and it can really break even the strongest person. No matter how public someone's life may seem, no one deserves to be treated with such cruelty or judgment for entertainment," adding, "You just never fully know what someone is going through behind the scenes, and I've learned through my own experiences that it's always better to lead with kindness." Coming number 4, Pete Davidson. After watching the Framing Britney Spears documentary, Pete Davidson came to the realization that he needs to move out of his mom's house. During the Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live, Pete poked fun at himself and how his own mother has more of a case to take over his finances than Jamie Spears did. If you recall, when Ariana and Pete broke up, he really got the brunt of everything online, to the point where people were very concerned about his mental health. During the Weekend Update though, he defended Britney Spears and said, "My mom has like way more of a case to take over my finances than like Britney's dad ever did. I was like, wait, she can do that? And she hasn't? Doesn't she love me? All Britney did was shave her head. I got a life-size tattoo of the Tootsie Pop owl." Pete then went on to joke that he saw a photo of himself without a shirt on and that he looked like a toddler that went to prison, adding that he looks like he carries a shiv but only to poke open a Capri Sun, which is a very good joke. Coming number 3, will.i.am. As you can tell, a lot of people spoke out in defense of Britney after that big documentary was released, and another one of those celebrities was Black Eyed Peas member will.i.am. Will is actually a longtime friend of Britney's after the pair worked together on the #1 single called Scream and Shout that was released in 2012. In defense of Britney, he told Metro UK, "The treatment of women goes way beyond the music industry. It's society and the lack of true support and lifting up of the female," adding, "Britney has endured some pretty harsh treatment from her own, and she's an amazing person and her heart is pure. Everyone's had some downfalls and some choices that they've made personally, but she's awesome." Coming number 2, Paris Hilton. If you recall, during her testimony, Britney actually mentioned Paris Hilton's situation and said that even while she was going through her own scenario, she had a hard time believing what Paris said she had experienced in regards to the boarding school that she attended. Although this was simply to explain that she too feared her own situation would be doubted upon making accusations. Addressing those comments on her podcast, Paris acknowledged that she knew Britney wasn't actually calling her a liar, but simply saying that she could not believe the allegations at first. She goes on to say, "I know that she didn't mean it in that way. She meant when she saw it, she couldn't even believe it. What she said was, people hear that it's Britney Spears, it's Paris Hilton, they have these perfect lives, who is gonna believe? I didn't even believe Paris, who's gonna believe me?" In defense of Britney though, she added, "We all need to use our voices to protect victims of abuse. She is so incredibly brave and an inspiration for speaking her truth. I know personally how hard it is to come forward to tell your story, and so I hope Britney knows that she is so loved and supported by the world right now." Last but certainly not least, our #1 spot, Miley Cyrus. When Britney's testimony came out, a lot of people were comparing her real life situation to that of the fictional character in Black Mirror that was played by Miley Cyrus. If you remember during Miley's song Party in the USA, there's a line in there about listening to Jay-Z and Britney on the radio. Well, during a live performance in Las Vegas, Miley decided to slightly tweak the lyrics to her hit song. Instead, she shouted "Free Britney" in place of her usual lyrics. Although perhaps the best part of this was her backtracking what she had said about Jay-Z, because a couple times during the song as she was tweaking the lyrics, she just said "F Jay-Z, we need to free Britney," and then towards the end she actually said, "We love Jay-Z, but we gotta free Britney Spears. This is stressing me out." And I'm guessing there will probably not be a party in the USA until Britney Spears is free again. Either way guys, that has been the top 10 celebrities that defended Britney Spears, but before we get out of here, I'm going to check out some of your comments from the video titled "Influencers Banned from Editing Social Media Photos." Dean Winchester says, "This should be around the world because this is messing with kids' minds." 100%. Couldn't agree more. Let's put a little label on every Photoshop photo. J. Dave says, "Not just in Norway, make it around the world." You got it, Dave. I don't know who's in charge, but we'll find out. GG says, "I wish this was everywhere. It would help a lot of people with self-esteem." I think people with self-esteem issues, I guess, have to move to Norway now? I don't know. Melandra says, "I wish more countries would have this law as young people are being fed impossible beauty standards." Couldn't agree more. Amanda Walski says, "Wow, love the hair. Good to see you hosting." Thanks, Amanda. Good to see you in the comments. Either way, guys, that has been today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy, YouTube, or at least try. While appearing on That's a mouthful. While appearing on Tucker Carlson. It's such a weird name to say. Sorry, Tucker. After watching the Framing Britney Spears documentary, if you recall, when Ariana and Pete broke up, he really got sorry to whomever has to edit this, and said that she didn't really. I tried to improv too much. I couldn't bring it back. Let me do this again. Time believing what Paris said.